Some time ago I did a video on tokens, tablets and staff keys, and in that video I talked about Annetts key staff locks, and I showed one on our ground frame at Roseley there, but I didn't manage to actually get to show you inside the staff lock. So that's the point of this video, is just to take you a look inside some staff locks, and these are just some examples of parts of staff locks that we've been donated. Now in the picture you can see in front of you, what we have is just a few face plates, all the exact same type of staff key lock, but as you can see, the one on the extreme left, we have a very slightly different notch aperture there, if you can just see it, at the 3 o'clock position. Our next one to that is in the 11 o'clock position, so that fits a different type of key. So if you were to put the wrong key in the wrong one, it wouldn't release it. So you can set these up depending on where the notch is to suit your keys. Now obviously what happens on most heritage railways is you gain second-hand equipment, so sometimes they are either damaged or need repairing, or you need to alter them. So in this case, this is what's happened on this third one here. A steel plate has been welded or fixed on the front of that, and that basically has changed the position of the key notch on it so that it'll only accept this particular key now. Looking inside the actual Annetts key lock, so I'll just put the faceplate on that for now. If we were to take this faceplate off, the first thing we would notice on the back is these two little square blocks. These are rubbing blocks. They're designed to keep this steel plate here tight in there so it can't move, and obviously keeps all the components inside as well. Looking at the actual insides of the lock itself, what we have is our large bar way through here where our bar fits, and you'll notice there's a small steel plate here, and this is the acceptance plate for the key. I know there's a lot of grease in this one, but what you have basically on your key is a couple of notches which are machined to fit this, and it'll typically have 2 studs and a small end piece. Now the small end piece actually fits into a tiny hole right in the very back, which if you can just see there. So the very end of the key fits right down in there, and that's an alignment piece. So that alignment hole there holds our key in place, and then as we turn our key, 2 things will happen. It will align these brass plates together. Now I mentioned this little stud here, this little stud there fits into here, and when our plates are in the correct position and our key is out, there was a spring here that will push these back over to the other side. When we put our key in and turn it, it aligns both plates up so that that square stud that you saw there can actually turn and slide down here. Now one other thing to mention here is you can just see that square little nut there. That traditionally holds this double spring in there, and I can show you on this example here the spring. As you can see, 2 metal springs. Each spring fits against one of them brass plates. So each one of these brass plates has a spring against it to maintain it in its locked position when the key is removed. And this is one of our brass plates. It's like a machined brass plate. It does have a slight bend on it, this one. I don't think that's supposed to be in there like that. They're supposed to be flat. It's just obviously got bent over time. And basically this is our alignment of the plate. This is our sliding notch here that fits with this stud that I mentioned. So if I could get this in here just to show you, for instance, there you go. So in the traditionally locked position, I'll get this the other way around. In the traditionally locked position, the spring will push over against this side and lock that in there. As we put our key in and turn it, it will withdraw it, and we should then be allowed to slide our bar. This will go up in there. Obviously we have to take our key back out to get the thing locked, so as we turn our key, the spring will automatically return that back over there, ensuring it's in the correct position. So that's one of the internal brass plates, just to show you that. On this bar itself, you'll notice there is an aperture as well. Now I'm going to have to just kind of ad-lib this just to show you. So if our stud was correctly put into our lock, and our brass plate's in the right place, I know this one's going to be awkward now. There we go. This is traditionally what you will see. So we have our space at the top of our Annetts lock. We have our bar inserted, and this piece down here will go off to our lever frame, or lock our lever frame up. And as you can appreciate, as we put our key in there, this is free space here for our key. So as we turn our key, it'll push against this bar and drive it up or down after it's aligned those plates. The casting itself is an all-in-one casting and has these bolts on the back. Now these bolts are to affix it to the lever frame or lever. Traditionally you would rivet these. You don't want this able to come off in any way, but obviously it's desirable on certain locations to have these things coming in on and off. You may have locking nuts on them, or you may have drilled these as well and put split pins through to stop them coming off. Sometimes they're welded on as well. And that's our main casting. This stud down here is the little rocking surface that hole there meets against, so it can pivot. And obviously that can wear out over time, and you can get small bits of wear and everything. We've had springs break before. They are capable of being remade from materials you can get, and obviously you get some small surfaces that do wear out. One of the parts that seems to suffer a lot, these steel screws here that hold the steel plate for aligning the key in, can suffer a bit. This looks like stainless steel, but on different examples it is different material. Shouldn't be overly greased. You don't want a ton of grease in there. Reason being, the grease will get onto your key will go with the locomotive. It gets dust and soot and ash off the locomotive on the key, and it goes straight into your lock and starts jamming things up and eating things away, which isn't a great idea. So try and keep this lock reasonably clean. Obviously these have been greased up in store to stop parts going rusty, and that's just how we were donated them. Again, on the back of the main front plate, see this one here has been screwed on to do its repair. Looking at it, I can just see it there. This has had a notch there at the 1 o'clock position, and it's been altered to a 3 o'clock position. Just make it out if you look very carefully. And that is the Westinghouse style, or LNER, Annetts key